All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. Indians and Russians, it appears, are locked in a bit of a space race. The quest is to reach the unexplored southern pole of the moon. Now, both Chandrayaan-3 and Luna-25 are in the moon's orbit, and both will be probing the moon's southern pole, where scientists have detected water ice that could be used for fuel, oxygen, and also for drinking water for future moon missions, or possibly even for a lunar colony. Our next report gets you more details.
Two rockets, two missions, one destination. The moon. ISRO had planned a Chandrayaan-3 mission well in advance, but it soon found a companion or a competitor in Russia's Luna-25. Interestingly, both the Russian and Indian spacecraft are on a lunar quest to search for water and potentially useful minerals that might be tucked away in the lunar dust. Curiously, both are eyeing the same landing spot, the moon's south pole. Russia's first moon mission in nearly 50 years was launched on the 10th of August and is now orbiting the moon in preparation for the touchdown. Russia's Luna-25 spacecraft has sent back its first images of the moon from lunar orbit. The images feature the south polar crater Zeeman, located on the far side of the moon. India's third lunar mission is also inching closer to the moon's little explored south pole, where it aims to set down a lander and rover on the 23rd of August, 2 days after the Russian craft's scheduled landing. Well, both ISRO and ROSCOMS aren't competing, but perhaps it's curious timing which has got the world watching and wondering who will get there first. Just 3 other countries have successfully landed a spacecraft on the moon. India has a comparatively low-budget aerospace program, but is rapidly closing in on the milestones set by the global space powers. India's moon mission comes with a price tag of $74.6 million, far lower than those of other countries, and a testament to India's frugal space engineering. Developed by ISRO, Chandrayaan-3 includes a lander module named Vikram, which means valor in Sanskrit, and a rover named Pragyan, Sanskrit for wisdom. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
All right, so it is indeed a very interesting space race between India and Russia that is on at this moment. And to put all of this in perspective, we're being joined by Mr. Manish Purohit, who is a former ISRO scientist. He's joining us live from Bhilwara in Rajasthan. Now, Mr. Purohit, this a lot of people would say is an important moment, you know, in the race to be there in the space. Now, both Russia and India, you know, one may not have expected that this would be a space race that would play out. But what is happening is that the space probes of both these nations will be landing on the surface of the moon pretty much at the same time. The Russians will land on the 21st of August. Indians would land on the 23rd. Give us a sense of, is this really a space race, or is this something that has happened just as a coincidence?
Good evening, Mohammed. Actually, if it's a space race, then we would be really happy. See, let's put this thing in a bit of perspective. Who started the first space race? Who was the first one to put the satellite in the orbit? Who was the first one to take a human in this space? It was Soviets, USSR. So if a time has come when Russia is, in terms, you know, for a layman, for a common people, if they are competing with ISRO, so that gives a boost to the morale. As we are being a part of ISRO, right, we are competing with those who started the first space race. But actual thing is a bit different. See, landing site on the moon decides the day of landing. If we go by the Apollo missions, so all the Apollo missions were designed to land near the lunar equator, we can say.
Right.
But the landing has to happen when the sun is rising on that latitude and longitude. So the latitude and longitude that has been picked by ROSCOMS for Luna-25 will see the sunrise. The first rays of sun will be shining there on 21st. So they can't miss out on a very important resource, that is the solar energy, because that is going to generate power for them. So they want to use that full 14-day duration. So they have to land on 21st. For our Chandrayaan-3, for ISRO's Chandrayaan-3, the latitude and longitude that we have picked for our landing site, that will see the sun on 23rd. So eventually, see, it's very simple. Right now, even Vikram can go and land on moon. Right now, we have that capability. But right now, if you land on that particular position where you want to, it will be whole dark there. There's no point landing the night there, because we will have just 14 crucial days of sunlight, and we want to use every bit of it.
I think that's an interesting detail that you pointed out. And also, Mr. Purohit, there's a lot of talk about, polar ice waters on the poles of the moon. Give us a sense as to why that is so important, finding these ice caps on the poles of the moon. What can we even do with it?
See, actually, water is a very precious resource for humans, right? The bigger picture says that we are going to set our base on the moon. Moon is going to become a new gateway for the bigger journeys, bigger interplanetary adventures and endeavors that we are going to take up in future. Now, the bigger plan, this complete thing fits in as we will be going to the moon. If we get water there, we can establish our base, and then from there we can take a big jump to the interplanetary, maybe the missions to the Mars. Now, if we get the water ice there, it may be in the form of permafrost. So if we have that possibility of getting water there, water can be broken down into hydrogen and oxygen. So oxygen will act as a fuel. Oxygen is required for us. Water will get. So water is a very precious resource. Now, the thing is, it was found out way back in 2008 when ISRO's Chandrayaan-1 has a moon impact probe, and that found out those lava trails and possibility of finding that water ice. So this is a very important thing, because see, even NASA is planning to have an Artemis mission, complete big endeavor, completely designed for the lunar South Pole, and those adventures are going to just happen. This is the first step we are taking. Next one is Luna-26, Luna-27, and then we are going to have Artemis. So things are really interesting. That are going to be very, very interesting future here.
Absolutely, indeed. Thank you very much, indeed, Mr. Purohit, for joining us and getting us all those details there.
Thank you. Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.